Computer. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Latanya Smith, the CEO and founder of Speak Life to Youth and Children, SLIC International. Our website is www.slickinternational.com. And today is a great day. This is part of our Youth Awareness and Safety Program. And I met this attorney last year who purchased a whole lot of tickets for a cake raffle that she didn't win, but I blessed her and her staff with cream cheese pound cake. Y'all got another one coming as soon as my time gets loose as well. Cawanna McMichael Brown is an attorney in West Georgia. She has a reputation of working tirelessly to achieve the best possible results for her clients. And she keeps them engaged as she strategically maneuvers through their case. She was born and raised in Carrollton, Georgia, and is married to Antonio Brown. And they reside with two of their children. And I think she has a couple of other kids in her house.
A lot of kids.
She has a lot of kids. Carol, she's another me.
Yeah, I have two of my own birth, but I think total, including the kids that I am currently guardians over, we have 6 kids.
Okay, so they have 6 kids total, so that's a family of 8.
We don't all live together, but
they're still your kids. They're
still my kids.
And I'm interested and curious to see what she got to talk about, you know, with everything with young people and dealing with law enforcement and the legal system. This is a perfect time. She has a passion, even though I don't know her well, she has a passion for kids because she have a total of 6. She's in the community as well, and she loves what she does, and she has a passion for what she does. And she's like me, we don't want to see any of our kids get a spot on their record before they become an adult. And even if they become an adult, she's still gonna work with them. I saw her case she posted. She worked very hard to get this client. The case was non-prosecuted, non-pros, and I'm quite sure you'll explain all that. I do know a little stuff because the juvenile probation officer.
Non-prosecuted, dismissed.
Yeah.
So, and in the criminal context, it's really good.
None further ado. I will come back at the end and tell you a little bit more about SLIC, but I'm turning it over to Ms. Cawanna or Cam.
Cam.
Whatever she prefers. Cam.
Whatever you call me, I don't care. I'm
gonna just say Cam because I mess up names. The kids will tell you I mess up names, so it's on you.
Good. Hello, everybody. Again, I'm Cam, Cawanna, McMichael Brown, Miss Brown. I don't care. I'm very non-traditional attorney, as you can see today. It's a Saturday, so I'm in mom mode. But knowing your rights is something that's very important to me, especially as an attorney, as an African-American woman, as an American. You really, really, really need to know your rights. We have this unique system here in America, and for the most part, a lot of things that I see in my space is that most people just don't know their rights. So it's very easily for them to be violated. And even when you know your rights have been violated, you kind of really don't know what to do. So this is kind of what this presentation is about. So I'm gonna start. Because I'm a lawyer, of course, I have a disclaimer. Nothing here is legal advice. Every case, there is not one case. I know people say we got the same case. You do not have the same case. There is something different about every single case that you have. And so in order to get legal advice, you got to pay me and you got to come make an appointment. These are just general applications of very general law to give you some direction on knowing your rights. I think it's very important. So we're talking about the criminal justice system. So in law school, I had the ability to study abroad. So I studied in China. And what you learn when you move out is every system has its own unique set of laws. And here in American criminal justice system, we play a 3-part. Most people know this from school, that we kind of do this 3-part thing. So in the criminal justice complex, not like the executive, legislative, just in the criminal context, we have the judge, and you would think of them like the Supreme Court. You have the prosecutor, which is like the state, and you have the defense attorney, and that's the other person, the accused, the citizen. So that's kind of how you think about it. So the judge, jury, they're the referee. A lot of people think the judges make cases. They do not. They're just like a referee. The referee doesn't play the game. They just make sure you play the game the right way. So that's the biggest thing I like to tell people about judges, because people say, I'm gonna go tell the judge. The judge is just the referee. He can't do anything unless one of either the state or the defense does something for him to rule upon. So bringing it down just to Carroll County, because that's where we are now. This is very important. I added this to my thing because I think it's very important for you to know what your local system, political system looks like. Yes, it's great to know who the president, but to be quite honest, what is on the president's desk or what the Supreme Court says takes a long time to touch you in your everyday life. What happens in this courtroom in Carroll County, what happens in your local elections has immediate consequences for you. It touches your life in the most immediate and most real way. And so that's why it's very important for you to be locally engaged in the people that are playing a part in your everyday lives. So these are our 4 Carroll County only judges, the judges who originate from Carroll County. In our system, we're part of a circuit. So Carroll County is one of only 5 counties in the circuit. So Carroll County and Coweta County are the biggest counties in our circuit, and we get 4 judges from Carroll County, 2 judges from Coweta County, 1 judge from Troup County, and then Heard and Meriwether, they rotate. So that's important to know. That means most of the judges in our criminal justice circuit originate right here in Carroll County. So when we vote for judge, right now, our chief judge of the entire circuit is a Carroll County judge, and that's Judge Blackman. So these are people who have the ability to take your kids away, to lock you up, put you in jail for a long time. They make the decisions about whether or not you get divorced and how much your child support is going to be. These judges have direct effects on your life. It's very important. And most of you, myself included before I became a lawyer, could walk right by them on the street and not know the power that they wield. So I put this picture in here so you know, at least you know, like these are the 4 Superior Court judges. We also have a state court judge. I haven't added her yet. They haven't taken their pictures. And your juvenile court judge, which is very important to your demographic, because if you go to juvie or you get any kind of offense or you commit a crime under the age of 17, you will see Judge Palmer in juvenile court. So that's the judge and the jury. Then you have your prosecutors, also very powerful people that walk by you on the street and you need to know. Your district attorney, he is the person that accuses any felony crime in this entire circuit, Carroll County, Coweta County, Meriwether County, Troup County, and Heard County. And then you have here we have Rebecca Jackson. I call her Becky. She's our state court judge. And so she prosecutes all misdemeanors in Carroll County. So marijuana charges, fight charges, anything that's not juvenile. After you turn 17, this is very important, you were considered adult for criminal justice purposes. And anytime y'all have any questions, just let me know. I kind of just talk because I'm a lawyer and I'm fine with talking. So just stop me or put something in chat. The role of the defense attorney. There are all kinds of defense attorneys, but this is my PowerPoint. So you're gonna see me. And so
I like that picture, by the way. I like.
Thank you. I've had a lot of hairstyles in my day. The role of the defense attorney is to hold the government to their burden. The burden. Does anybody know? Since I got some kids that I can see now, does anybody know what the burden of proof is in a criminal case?
Kara, Tarif, that she's asking a question. Could you ask it again, Cam?
Do y'all know what the burden of proof is? Does anybody know what the burden of proof is if in a criminal case when you've been charged with a crime?
I guess when you have to show proof, I don't know.
Okay. It is beyond a reasonable doubt. That is very important. I want you to remember that. Beyond a reasonable doubt in order to convict somebody of a crime and send them and take away their liberty, take them to prison, put them on probation, you have to prove their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Or it means any reasonable other, if there's any other reasonable explanation under the law, technically you cannot convict that person. And that is the highest standard of proof in the law. It's higher than what you need to prove somebody stole your money. It's higher than what you need to get a warrant. Just to arrest somebody, you don't really need almost any evidence. That it could probably happen is enough to get arrested and put them in jail. But to
That's good to know. I thought they had the nerve.
no. Probable cause, what you hear by that, probable cause is not even probably happened. Probable cause means it probably could have, it's possible, could have happened, and it's probably you, if it was probable. So it's a very low standard of proof. So you can get an arrest warrant for almost, if two people, if I say you hit me, if we go to court and you say I hit you, and we were in a, and I said, no, I didn't hit her. You just saying that I hit you and there's a conflict in the evidence is enough to get a warrant.
Wow.
So it doesn't have to, there's no defense to a warrant. As long as it's probable that it happened, you can take out a warrant.
I did not know
have to be
that.
likely. Yeah. So when you see people get arrested, that doesn't mean much in the context. Now it has the collateral consequences of that, and that's probably a little bit more advanced. Is what really why you don't want to get arrested, because people don't know that. So when they think you got arrested, they almost think you're guilty already. You see what I'm saying? So that's our job. Our job is to go get the evidence, see what the state has, see if there's any errors that they made or anything like that. It's not my job to get you off. I don't win if I get you off, unless you are actually innocent or the state cannot prove your case. So I don't really concern myself with guilt or innocence as a defense attorney. I concern myself with whether the state has alleged something happened and they want to take away your liberty. Have they played by the rules? And if they haven't, I'm going to call attention to that. And if there's a problem where you're just innocent, we can try that and the jury will decide what story they believe. So this is kind of like criminal law 101, very important for you guys to understand. The earliest you can be found guilty of a crime is 13 years old. So at 13, I think that's what, 7th grade, you can be found guilty of a crime and go to jail. And in some cases, the earliest age that the criminal justice considers you an adult is 17. I said that earlier. Remember that, 17. But in certain types of cases, they can go as low as 12 and 13. So if you kill somebody, you can be tried as an adult at 13. Crimes that are automatically go to Superior Court. Superior Court is it's like your trial level court. It's not your Supreme Court, it's your local court, and they handle the most serious matters. So like murder, rape, sodomy, aggravated assault. When you think about very violent crimes. This is important for you to know. What does it mean? Some of you may know this. Some of you probably have family members who they say is on papers. It means you're on probation. Of course you get arrested. You can be detained. If you are a child, you can be detained in a child jail, which is called YDC. You could also be detained, depending on your age, in the county jail with adults. You can be monitored. You can be put on an ankle monitor. You can have to be forced to do community service. You can be forced to have a curfew, be subject to a lot of drug screens, like have to go in and see if you're drugs. And then your parents are going to need money to hire an attorney and for the fees and all that. It's very, very not good to be in the system. Here are some things that you really need to know. This is like a little bit educational because law is education too, is that when I talk about your rights, have y'all learned about the Constitution? I don't know if they can hear me.
They're saying, yeah.
Okay, so you heard about the Bill of Rights. That's the rights that I'm talking about. You right now, you have certain rights because you are American and you live in America. And and those rights come from the Constitution and the amendments to the Constitution. So the rights that are most important in the criminal context come from the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th Amendment. 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment. It's a whole lot of law in that. So, but on the big side is, 4th Amendment is you are free to be, you have the right to not be subject to unreasonable searches and seizures. That means the government can't just send the police with no reason, that means unreasonable, and just come in your house, take your stuff and leave. They can't do that. They have to get a warrant. They have to prove that there's a reason why they're going to come in your house or come into your book bag. You also have some of these rights at your school. We'll talk about it in a minute, that they just can't come and take your stuff. Because in other countries, their government can just walk in their house, grab them up, take them to jail, and they just stay in jail for the rest of their life. They never have a trial. Nobody ever says, did you do it? They never get to mount a defense. We're in a different country, so you are free from unreasonable searches and seizures. The 5th Amendment, you have the right to remain silent. Biggest right you have is to not to talk. And they train us as Black people to talk. Why? Because we give up our right. And not even England has the right to remain silent. You do not have the right to remain silent in Europe, in England. That is a unique American right that comes out of the Revolutionary War and the monarchy. I'm a big history person. So to remain silent, that means when a police asks you something, you don't have to say anything at all. Ever. You never have to talk to a police. Now, we're going to talk about what you should say if you say to police, but understand this, if you don't remember, you never have to say hello, goodbye, where you going, you can just be quiet. 6th Amendment, you have a right to a speedy and public trial. You have a right to an attorney, and you have a right to confront your accuser. So that kind of goes hand in hand with when somebody said you did it, you have a right to be assisted in mounting your defense, with an attorney, the right to have that, make that person come and stand before you and accuse you of that. There's power in just having somebody look at you and lie. You know, that's what we were thinking about. And you have the right to question them about what they said and try to expose their lie. So that's what I do. Why is knowing your rights important? You need to know what to say is important. You need to understand that what you say to officers is important. What you say can and will most of the time be used against you, not for you. And that you're not lying by being quiet and not speaking to police. That doesn't mean you're lying. It just means that you are engaging in your right to remain silent, that people fought for and are still fighting for, to be quite honest. So there's 3 types of encounters that you will have with the police. That's conversations, detentions, and arrests. And we're going to talk about each one of those. A conversation can be initiated by both you or the officer. Sometimes it's okay to have a conversation with the officer. You need directions or whatever, you know, they're there to assist you. They're not always just to do crimes. So you can have conversations, but with the conversation, either person can end the conversation. So like, hey, officer, do you know where Walmart is? Yeah, it's down the street. Okay, goodbye. And you can leave. But the officer has the power to tell you cannot leave, and we're going to talk about that. But in a conversation, you can always leave. So one of the things I always tell people to remember to ask when you're thinking about an officer is, officer, am I free to leave? That is going to be a powerful statement that's going to let you know what you need to do the next moment. So whenever you're engaged with an officer, especially if an officer engages with you, you need to, if you start feeling uncomfortable, officer, am I free to leave? We'll talk about that. If you're not free to leave, that means you're being detained. That does not mean you're arrested yet. Arrested is when they put the handcuffs on you. But once an officer said, no, you cannot leave anymore, you are now detained, and the government now can control whether or not you're free to go, your freedom. So when you ask the officer, hey, am I free to leave? And he says no, that means that officer believes he has reasonable suspicion that you are committing a crime. And he's now conducting an investigation of you. So this is when you need to be quiet. If you ask an officer, am I free to leave? And he says no, your next thing is to not say another word other than I would like an attorney. That means in your car, everywhere. We're going to talk about that. So what do you do if you're being detained? The officer says no. You remain calm and respectful. They are still police. You don't get to curse them out and call them names. The best thing you could do for a defense attorney who's going to fight for you later is to remain calm and not get belligerent, because that's going to do really well for us if we have to contest something, that you're not acting like a jerk, you know, on top of, even if the officer has violated your rights, when you act like a jerk, it's harder. After the officer says you're free to leave, that's when you remain silent. Never give consent to search anything. Even when they say, I need to get into your car, don't say anything or say, no, I need an attorney. Just keep saying, no, I need an attorney. I don't care if you feel stupid, just keep saying it. They're gonna back down, because they are so tricky and they try to get people to talk, and that's how you get arrested. When you're in a car, y'all look very young, but when you'll get to be driving, you want to pull over quickly, slowly, in a safe place. Have your license and registration. Black males, as you get older, buy you 2 licenses. Get you a license and get you an ID. Keep an ID accessible in your car, and keep your driver's license in your car, and keep your ID in your wallet. And if you can, just put it in a plastic bag with your insurance and your registration, so you can just hand him that without having to go into your wallet. Have everybody remain in the car. And in the state of Georgia, if you're given a ticket, sign the ticket. It is not an admission of guilt. It is your bail. In the state of Georgia, all traffic offenses are misdemeanor crimes, meaning that you have to bond out on them. So if you do not sign the ticket, they will take you to jail and make you post a bond.
Wow, did not know that.
Yes. Sign the ticket. It is your bond. You are being let go on your own recognizance, meaning you don't have to post any money bail. But if you do not sign a ticket, you are not signing your bail, and they can take you to jail and make you post a bail on a red light ticket.
Oh, wow.
If you are suspected of driving under the influence, DUI, understand that refusal to take any kind of field test can result in license suspensions. I'm not going to go further down that road. That's legal advice, but just understand that you can refuse the testing, but in refusing, you may have some license consequences that are independent of the criminal charge. So once you're detained, what the officer is trying to deduce is whether he has enough evidence or can get enough evidence to do an arrest. So in order to detain you, he has to have reasonable suspicion. So in practice, reasonable suspicion sounds like you smell like weed. Your car smells like weed. Your breath smells like alcohol. This is why are you here this time of night? That type of stuff is what reasonable suspicion looks like. And they're asking you a question because they're trying to determine whether if something you say is going to be criminal or not. They're not trying to let you go free. They're trying to arrest you. So once you ask the officer if you're free to leave, let's say you start talking and you say, oh yeah, officer, I smoked some weed. He says I smell the odor. Well, he does not tell you he smells the odor of weed. He's just going to keep talking to you, but you're going to be smart and say, officer, am I free to leave? And he's going to say no, and then you're going to be quiet. But let's say you don't be quiet and you say, well, yeah, he's like, have you had anything to drink tonight or smoke tonight? Well, yeah, I smoked a blunt like 2 hours ago. You've now committed a crime. You've now given him probable cause to arrest you. Everything he asks next is to get more evidence against you before he actually puts you in handcuffs and has to Mirandize you. This is very important. Officers do not have to read you Miranda just because you're arrested.
Wow.
Officers only have to read you Miranda if they're going to question you while in custody. So the reason why I'm telling you all these things about what you should be asking is They are trained to ask you a lot of questions before they put you in custody so that they never have to read you Miranda. So one of the biggest things that people call me for when they get arrested, they say, I didn't get read my rights. And y'all know what the rights are, right? They're like, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to attorney. You have to, anything you said, those are the rights you see on TV all the time. And they think, and everybody walks around thinks that officers have to read you Miranda every time they arrest you. They do not. The only time they don't even have to read you Miranda anymore. At this point, they just put a piece of paper in front of you and say, do you understand what you're signing? And it's your Miranda rights. And once you sign this, you can talk to me. So most people waive the Miranda. This is why, if you don't remember nothing else I say today, remember to be quiet. Just be quiet. So once they get probable cause, and we just talked about probable cause, it doesn't mean probably happened. It means she hit me. No, I didn't. Somebody said you hit me. That's enough. You could have hit her. That's enough. I'm going to place you under arrest for hitting her. Even though she said you didn't. Even though you said you didn't. She said you did. So he thinks that a crime, you are not free to go at that point. You are under arrest, and everything immediately around you, meaning your car, your book bag, your pocketbook, can be searched at that time without a warrant. What to do if you didn't listen to none of my advice and you talk and it happens and now you're under arrest? What should you do? Do not resist arrest. Take the ride. It's much worse things than going to jail. I know your mama, it's good. We don't want you to go to jail, and we don't, but it's worse things than jail, prison. So do not resist arrest, because you're probably not even guilty, especially if you've been quiet. And even if you are guilty, just be quiet anyway and take the ride. But if you are innocent and you are under arrest, it does not mean you are guilty. It just means that they probably got some evidence against you. That's it. So do not resist arrest. I will come get you. Me and your mama, then we're going to get you a bond. We're going to come get you. But do not resist arrest, or you might not be getting out, because that's a separate crime. If you can't remember nothing else, just say attorney, attorney, attorney. I want an attorney. I want an attorney. Give me an attorney. I want an attorney. Just keep saying it. Remain silent. I'm not saying it until my attorney gets here. I told somebody this about a year ago, and they avoided a life sentence, spending the rest of their life in jail. I want an attorney. You ain't even got to say Miss McMichael, Cam. I want an attorney. They'll go find you one. And that attorney gonna tell you to be quiet. Do not make any decisions. Do not make any statements anymore once you're in that jail to anybody, but unless you're saying, I want an attorney. Okay. I need you to remember that. And we just talked about Miranda, that you don't have to be read that when you get arrested. You should know your Miranda. You always have your Miranda. Right now we have a Miranda. If I'm in this conference and 5 police come in here, bust into my office, surround me, and say, where were you at last night? You go hear me say, I would like an attorney. And I'm gonna get arrested. If they have a warrant, I'm gonna be pissed, mad, but I'm gonna go in my handcuffs and I'm gonna go to the jail and I'm gonna contact the attorney. That's the first things I'm gonna do. Because that officer has no reason to help me at all. He is not working for me. He is putting me under arrest. He is not trying to help me. My attorney is trying to help me. Their job, we talked about what our job is. Our only job is to protect our client. So these are some of the reasons, and I'm gonna send y'all this PowerPoint why you should never, there's like a lot of reasons, even when you're innocent, why you shouldn't talk to the police. It's really hard to tell the same story twice. It's easy to tell a little white lie. Like the best thing to do is just to be quiet and tell everything to your attorney. So next we're going to go into what to do with interacting police. This is very important. I know many of you have seen these people, and we all have our opinions about whether they're police interactions and stuff, but there's something to learn from each of their deaths. And I'm not saying that these people were wrong by any means. What I'm saying is we have, especially as African-American people, we have to be extra vigilant that we are engaging in police in a respectful way, but also in a way that does not violate our rights. And that's a very hard task, and it's not fair, right? It's not fair because other races don't have to worry about how just their simple being is threatening to a police officer. But in reality, as an African-American, just our being is frightening. And so we have to learn how to, one, be Americans first and understand our rights, but also get home safely. Do not play with toys outside that look like guns and weapons. Don't do that in public. Don't play with pop guns or anything like that. When you see a police, even though I'm telling you, you have a right to leave, I just asked, I didn't tell you to run away from the police. I told you to ask politely if you're free to go, and if you are, to slowly walk away. You know, don't run, don't curse at them leaving, just single file line out and get to a safe place. If an officer, even when in the back, it's hard, right? Because it's hard to do this, but we have to do this because it's just to stay safe. Even if the officer is being mean and aggressive to you, you're going to have to breathe and only speak polite to him. And try to remember, try to your best. It's hard to keep your tone as low as possible. I don't think any of these things are right. I just don't want to see you dead. Do not resist arrest. If the officer has made a determination that you have committed, he has an probable cause to arrest you, there's nothing you can say or do that's going to stop him from arresting you. You're going to end up getting tased or worse, shot by resisting arrest. And even if you were innocent of the underlying crime, the resisting is another crime. So even if they were to kill you or significantly hurt you, they would be justified. So do not resist arrest. If you are being restrained, choked, sat on, try your best to tell the officer and describe what's happening. We all heard, I can't breathe, right? We want to say those things out loud. I can't breathe. Your knee is in my neck. You're choking me. I can't breathe. Try to describe that so that it can be picked up by the body camera if there's one available or if somebody's videoing. That police brutality is not new. Cell phones are new. So I'm gonna leave that where it's at. Let's see. In a vehicle, I'm trying to read the small print, I'm sorry. If you're pulled over, don't make any sudden moves. Keep both your hands on the wheel. If you need to reach for something, ask the officer, hey, officer, my wallet is in the glove compartment. Would you like me to retrieve it? Don't make moves to get the stuff yourself. Put your hands at 10 and 2 and ask those questions. This is why I do suggest, especially for Black people, but all people, but especially Black males, if you can, have a clear plastic bag in your car with your driver's license, your registration, and insurance, so that you can access that quickly and it's not non-threatening because it's in a clear plastic bag. If you have a weapon, because you guys don't have the right to have a weapon yet, but you will, or you may have, your parents have weapons, always let the officer know that there's a weapon in the car and do not retrieve it. Let him retrieve it if he would like to. And if you feel like an officer is violating your rights because you remember everything I said in this PowerPoint presentation, do not argue with the officer at the side of the road. Come see me afterwards, but just get arrested and do not argue with him. You cannot win that battle on the side of the road. That's for lawyers to do, okay? Okay, school rights, very important. You still have rights as a student because you are American. And it applies to law enforcement and to educators. They would need a probable cause standard in order to search you at the school. Now, I told you probable cause is still low, but they don't just get to go through your book bag just because. So what's okay and what's not okay in a school search? If they have reasonable suspicion, like you got in a fight, or somebody said you stole something, or somebody said that you had drugs on campus. So that's probable cause because somebody said it happened, and now they can conduct a search. They can pat down the outer parts of your clothes like you see on TV for weapons. They cannot strip you down. They cannot make you take off your shirt or your pants to see if you have concealed something. You need to ask for your parent if that happens, because it has happened and it can happen. So just understand, don't ever let anybody take off your shirt or anything like that. You need to ask for, demand for your mom and or an attorney at that point at a school. They can search your backpack. They can search your purse, a locker. I don't even know if they have lockers anymore. Metal detectors. They can use a metal detector to see if you have a weapon. They can bring in drug dogs into the school to determine whether there are drugs in the school. They can require drug screens for students who engage in any extracurricular activities. So at Central, that's where my kids go, in order to play football or drive or band or anything, you have to, and that's all Carroll County schools, you have to agree to be subject to drug testing to be in activities. They can search your cell phone. My personal opinion of that is, if they ask for your cell phone, you still need to ask for your parents. Because I just don't think that should be. Ask for your parent. You never could go wrong with just saying, I want my mom and my parents, period. And they can also search any car parked on their property. That'll be when y'all get older and driving. It is not okay for them to videotape any private areas in the in the locker rooms. They cannot have cameras in the locker rooms. They cannot, if somebody, people sneak drugs in all kinds of ways, they can't videotape or make you take off your underwear or anything like that. You do not have to give them any passcodes to any of your social media accounts. They don't get to just log into your Snapchat. They cannot perform any search not supported by reasonable suspicion or and probable cause for the police. So if you can't remember anything else about my presentation, right, because I gave a lot of information, it's a lot, and it can get even deeper. Just remember to be quiet. Just remember to be quiet and only speak to an attorney. That's probably the biggest advice I can give, because I can worry about all the rest of the stuff when you're quiet. And if you're quiet, probably nobody's gonna put their hands on you. I want you guys to remember about being safe in public, and not, being disrespectful. This is not a presentation to say it's okay to curse the police and be rude to police. It's just engaging in your rights in a very safe way, and knowing, now you kind of know if somebody's doing something wrong. If an administrator comes in and says, hey, take off your shirt, I heard that you dropped something down your bra, you know that that's not okay. It's not okay. If you are manhandled by police, to describe what's happening to you. And if you see somebody getting detained by police from a safe distance, it's okay to videotape. These things can be life or death, especially in the poor and minority communities. And it's not just Black people, it's poor people. And I represent a lot of poor people. So just understanding your rights, engaging them in a real way, and remaining respectful. And the biggest thing I tell people, I don't want you to be arrested, but if you get arrested, we can fix it. Don't resist arrest. It's not, you will live. I was arrested at one point in my youth, and I'm an attorney now, and I help people get out of jail. So as I know, our parents and everybody's telling you don't go to jail, but if it happens, right, don't freak out, because we can fix it. Okay? Any questions?
I have a couple, but I'm gonna give the kids. Do y'all have any questions? None? Okay, you made a statement about as long as it's from a safe distance, it's not against the law to record. And the rest, a lot of attorneys where you hear social media of different posts, the law enforcement officer said, well, you can't record this. It's against.
Well, I will say in the state of Georgia, so every state has their own things, but if it's in the public purview and he is a public officer, right? And you are just recording, that is not illegal. Now you can't be in his investigation. If they put up a yellow tape or something, you can't cross over into that. But if you're across the street, kind of like the George Floyd thing, and you're videoing, now this is what I'm gonna tell you from a practical level, right? In this, do it, right? But try not to get caught doing it. They're gonna try to take that phone from you, and if you can't, try to be discreet if you can. Now I'm filming you, like try to be discreet. I see it, try to be discreet. Try to get that footage onto a cloud as soon as possible, having it backing up to a cloud so that even if they do take the phone, the footage is already saved to where, to the cloud. So, because they will take the phone and then we can't retrieve that information because they took the phone and they're, whatever. And then once you get that footage, speak to somebody, speak to an attorney or something before you leak it. Because you want to make sure you're properly protected.
So what about if people decide to record something Facebook Live?
It's in the public domain. So anything you put on public, like today, if somebody's recording me, I can't come back and say, oh, you couldn't record me. Like I'm now on the public domain and you have a right to record what's going on in your life, which includes me. Now, when you get in problems with recording is when you're like filming somebody in their house, peeping Tom type stuff, or it's not a conversation that you are privy to. But when things happen in the public atmosphere on a public street, it's fair game for the most part.
Well, I have one young lady who's a senior, she's 18 or will be 18, that is driving, going off to college. So this is pertinent to her as well as her brother, who I think has his permits. Any special suggestions you would suggest to them as being new drivers and they're in this? Yeah.
It is, because my son's 17. So, and this is my first child to drive. And I tell him these things, the same thing, be respectful. I think they were pulled over last night in LaGrange after prom. Wow. And I had already given, but they got a warning. And because most officers, if you're respectful and you do what you're supposed to do, they really don't want to mess with you, So they were pulled over for some headlight thing. They were riding in somebody else's car because of prom. Be respectful, pull over quickly, remain respectful throughout the entire interaction, even if the officer is being there. You want to remain silent, but you don't want to be rude, So do you know why I pulled you over? No, sir, I do not. Don't make any admissions. That's the biggest thing. People say, yeah, I was speeding. No. You're going to say, no, Your Honor, no, officer, I don't. I have my license and registration. It's either, if you have the clear packet, it's fine, or officer, because you're a black male or black female, you're gonna put those hands on the things. If you don't have it already accessible, you're gonna put your hands on the wheel. You're not gonna be fumbling in your purse and stuff. Hands on the wheel when he gets there. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, officer, I have my license and registration. It's in my purse. My purse is right there. Would you like me to retrieve it? Sign the ticket. If you get the ticket, sign the ticket. Don't argue with the police officer. Even if you don't think you are going 90 miles per hour, don't argue with the police officer. Sign the ticket, call Cam Law, because we do traffic tickets. The biggest thing I tell people, because most kids have just been preached their whole lives, you can't go to jail, you can't go to jail, you can't go to jail. And especially in the South, especially in this very over criminalized everything, the likelihood is most kids will go to jail or at least be pulled over for something. And so I just try to, I'm not saying I want you to go out and commit crimes by any means. Innocent people are arrested. That's what I'm saying. And if you feel you're an innocent person that's being arrested, it's okay. It's okay. Just go to jail and we'll get you out. It's okay.
So for cases where the student is 16, 17, if they should get arrested and no pros, if they are arrested for a misdemeanor, the misdemeanor is different than a felony. So
yeah, a misdemeanor, I wouldn't say non-prize. There's all, I mean, it just depends on the severity and what we can work out. And some drivers consequences go through juvenile court and some go through state court. So that's the distinction that has to be made. But I will tell you, like getting a ticket or getting a ticket, that's something I talk about drivers. Because most of y'all kids probably ain't out here selling, that's a whole different conversation. So we're talking about maybe a little marijuana in the car. Your friend has marijuana in the car. You don't even have marijuana. Now y'all both going to jail, right? Because friend has marijuana in the car. So they're going to take both of you to jail. That's something that could happen. You and your friends go into Walmart. Friend steals. You don't know friend stealing. Now you're both getting arrested for shoplifting, which is why I suggest people don't go shopping with your friends. And if you do, check out separately. Always check out separately. If you go into Walmart with your friends and they go through one checkout line, you go to a whole nother one. That way, if they're stealing, you can't be seen as part of that. Because I get that a lot. Where, teenagers are going out shopping, one person lifts something, go through the self-checkout line, they don't scan it, but y'all are all kind of standing over there. And so they arrest everybody that's all standing over there. And they like, we'll figure out who actually stole, or we'll just make them, what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Wow. Okay.
So, or you're driving in a car, or you're riding in a car and somebody has weed, and inevitably, because nobody's had this conversation and told them everything's gonna be okay, nobody accepts the weed. So they put everybody in jail because they're like, oh, we'll figure that out later. Since the person who actually has the weed doesn't want to admit to the weed, they're gonna put everybody in jail. Don't freak out, just don't freak out. Then we'll go into that. And those are practical, like things that I see probably like all the time. And now fighting, they are arresting kids for fighting right now, even at school. So it is not worth it. They actually gave one kid, I just got this week, a felony charge for a fight that happened in school. So, and he's being charged as an adult. So fighting was all good in 3rd grade. It's not all good in 11th and 10th grade, 9th grade, 8th grade. They will arrest you and put you through the juvie system. And if you're old enough, they will put you through the adult system. So fighting is huge.
Okay. Any other questions? Mom in the back, Kayleen, you have any questions?
Oh, I mean, I came in to tell Ian I was working, but no, I mean, a lot of great stuff. I told the kids they need to get on. And yes, this is a Black woman, especially, got to support my sisters. And, I think it's awesome that you're doing this, because especially for our people of color, really need to hear this. I mean, all kids, but especially, now this time, you already know, in 2022, even. Unfortunately, we're still facing with that. So no, I appreciate just the parts that I've heard. Really good stuff. And they can't say they didn't know. And I really like about when you talk about the checking out separately. I didn't even think about that. That's really great.
Thank you.
And it's sad we have to think that way, but it's good.
You have to. I see some crazy stuff. And especially once y'all get into these teenage years. Oh, I forgot my big pet peeve, which I don't care how can't see what you look like, but you look like about middle school. Nudes. Do not send nudes. Do not accept nudes. I don't care that it's Snapchat. You will be charged as an adult for nude pictures. And all of y'all do it all the way down. I done got them as young as 4th grade. Stop it. Don't send no nudes. It is a child molestation. It is
Pornography.
It is for child pornography. It doesn't matter that you're 14 too. They will put you in jail. I have a 14-year-old that's been in jail for a year and a half now. Charged as an adult. I don't care that it's cool. And girls, don't send your nudes. And then, because then you don't know where they at.
They all are.
And if a boy need your nudes to get with you, you don't need them. Trust me. I moved away from Carrollton. I'm from Carrollton. I went to Central my whole life. If the boys that like me in high school asked me for a nude right now, I would vomit. He ain't worth it, honey. The nerd in the back, that's who worth it. He's gonna be worth $1 billion.
Yeah. So
I like looking around with the news. Take him off Snapchat because I already know what's up.
So keep your clothes on. Don't be sending pictures via. Don't send pictures. Period. Not like that.
Snapchat is recoverable. Trust me.
No, they were looking around because they were trying to find the nerd. They were like nerd.
Oh, well, and then boys, the loose girls that like to send nudes and twerk, they're gonna be fat and ugly. Just save yourself all the problems and save yourself all the child support payments. Leave them alone. Go get the little nerd. I'm a real talker.
Good. Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Save yourself the trouble and the child
True, look
support.
at that laughing face. It's true. I know.
So I have one last question before we end. What is your retainer? If someone wanted to retain you, I
think it's important that you know what my retainer is, or what a typical. I won't say what a typical.
All right, what is the average?
Because it all depends. But a typical agreement, right? So let's say low-level felonies. I mean, low-level. Let's say traffic ticket. I do traffic tickets. I do everything criminal. I'm one of the only attorneys here in Carroll County or in some of the surrounding areas that does everything criminal, down to everything. I will do a traffic ticket and I do child molestations and murders. So I do it all. A traffic ticket, regular traffic ticket, $200 to $300, probably $500 if you're under the age of 21 because of the license consequences that come with it. They have harsher consequences. So let's say you get a traffic ticket, you're 16, 17, under 21, you get a traffic ticket. You're looking at $200 to $500. If you get a DUI, you're looking at $3,000 to $5,000, first time DUI, depending on several factors. If you're looking at a misdemeanor, fighting, things of that nature, looking to $3,000 to $5,000. Felonies, 5 and up. Anywhere, low-level felonies, 5 to $7,500 to $10,000, and a murder, $20,000 to $50,000. So I don't, for anybody, that's not my fees. Like I'm just telling you, that's just kind of like the going rates right now for criminal cases. So that's one of the things that's really happening in this community. And I'm sorry I get on my soapbox, but I see a lot of this. Stop playing with guns. If your friends have guns, you're going to prison in Carroll County, Coweta County, Douglas County, Cobb County, Heard County. You're going to prison if you do something and a gun is involved. They are doing drive-by shootings right now. They are pulling you over and you got marijuana. You got misdemeanor marijuana and a gun in the car. You got yourself a felony. So leave the guns alone. Real talk.
Leave the marijuana alone.
Leave the marijuana alone.
You got friends that smoke marijuana.
It's illegal.
Smoke marijuana.
Let me tell you something. I'm not as old. You can probably tell I'm a younger attorney. We could debate whether it's legal, should be legal, or should not be legal. Everybody has their opinions about it. But in the state of Georgia, it is illegal. And when you're doing the marijuana in the cars and stuff like that, it just opens up really what it does. The reason why I have a real problem with it because it's illegal, it opens up so many doors for them to search you and you're now arrested. And all you had was a misdemeanor amount of weed, a joint or a blunt or a cigarillo. That's all you had. And now you got a gun charge, or you got a freight charge, or you got an obstruction charge. You got all this other stuff. So it's just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It opens up. It's really, honestly, the reason why Georgia will be one of the last states to legalize marijuana. because it gives them the ability to harass people of color and poor people who smoke weed.
Precisely.
So just, I'm not gonna get into whether it's good or bad, because I already know how that goes. I'm saying that it could lead to something very bad. Move to another state. And if you can't, don't do it.
Well, this family is in the state of Tennessee.
Okay. Well, it ain't legal there either.
Yeah, no, it's not legal.
It's not legal there either.
Not legal.
So it is, there's a lot of social ramifications for that. And it's the easiest way that our kids are introduced into the criminal justice system, because they either possess it, or their friends are possessing it, or they're doing things while under the influence of it. So it's because you're reckless, with it. And so that's why it's just, that's why I don't even debate with kids, because I have kids all the time. It's good. This is the situation. It's introducing you to something because you're not able to handle it, and it's illegal. So you have a problem following rules, because that's a rule.
Right. So if they're Latrina, is she? Oh, she must have got off. So if there are no other questions, Cam, last words.
It's great to be American.
Okay. Well, we want to thank Ms. Cam for a presentation, and I don't learn. You're never too old to learn, because I learned a couple of new things today that I did not know, and great suggestions that I will pass on to other youth. This class recording will be on YouTube within an hour, so I'll send you that link.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. You shared a lot. I think those who are on got a lot out of it. Those who will see it on the YouTube will get a lot out of it. And I know who to call if I'm ever arrested. I don't plan on getting arrested. I don't do drugs. I don't own a gun. I don't do alcohol. But you never know.
You never know. Well, we might protest.
Yeah.
So we defend I do protest rights too, and I don't mind getting arrested for that. So
okay, so you'll be my first choice of calling somebody. This LT, I need you to come get me out of Carroll County, Douglas County.
I'm your girl.
County jail or whatever, So thank you so much. And for those who are seeing this, again, this is LaTanya Smith with Speak Life to Youth and Children International, SLIC International. If you would like to donate, you can do so through our Cash App, $ Speak, capital SPEAK, the number 4, SLIC, capital S, capital L, capital Y, capital C, or you can donate through our website at www.slickinternational.com. Again, this is Cawanna McMichael Brown, Carroll County. She has Cam Law. And if you all have any needs an attorney, please seek her out, check her out. She's good, she's knowledgeable, and she is passionate about what she does. Thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you later. Enjoy your day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Log off. I can't.